All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Word with Ty Brownlow. I am your host, Ty Brownlow. Remember, no one is worthless. No story is worthless. Today, ladies and gentlemen, look, 2 words. Funny, historic.
Absolutely.
2 words. Those are the only 2. Man, funny, historic. Not history, historic.
Historic. I like that.
Or historic.
I like that too.
Man, look here. I'm just gonna let y'all know y'all in for a treat. Joining me all the way from the West Coast, Las Vegas, man, y'all better roll them dice. Y'all already know what's up. Please put your hands together for the one, the only, Sir Frank Cooper.
How you doing, sir? How you doing? Always a pleasure.
I am well, and let me just say it is a pleasure to have you on this platform. African American Humor Award Society. Okay?
Absolutely.
All right. Over 30 years.
Yes.
All right. He's been doing this, man. We're going to get into how he's been doing this, but he's been doing this for over 30 years, honoring some of the iconic legends in the game.
Yes.
Okay. Anyone that you could think of, African American who's a comedian.
Absolutely.
This man right here. That's
absolutely.
All right. And he knows all about it. So we finna get right into it.
Absolutely.
First and foremost, sir, I want to talk about your personal journey.
Okay.
Let's talk about how all this began. But before we get into that, how did you get so interested in comedy?
Well, when I left Atlanta and moved out to California, I was homeless, had enough money to buy me a little Datsun B210. And I took that car and took the passenger seat out of that car. And I bought me a thick foam mattress and put in that car all the way to the back seat. And that was my house for 6 months before I got my first job. Now, instead of me living in the ghetto in LA, my father always used to tell us, if you want to be successful, you surround yourself around things that you want to acquire as you get older and as your life improves. Because you want to wake up every morning and you want to see something that you want for yourself. So I would park my car in Beverly Hills, no kidding, behind these big ass mansions where they kept the garbage cans. And when the garbage man would come in early in the mornings with the truck making up all that noise, it'd wake me up. So I get up and move the car and take it to a park there in Beverly Hills, the same park where George Michaels got caught soliciting a police officer in Beverly Hills. I would park my car at that park, go in, wash up, change clothes, jump on the bus, go look for a job. I'm on my way to work. I'm on my way looking for a job. I'm on the bus and I see a sign in the window saying help wanted. So I said, oh shit, hell, let me go in here and check this out. Jump off the bus, run into this building, go upstairs, there's this man sitting at this desk. I said, sir, I'd like to apply for the job. He was like, well, what do you do? I said, whatever you need me to do. He said, no, well, I'm looking at you and reading your resume. I don't need nobody with an education like this. I said, sir, I'm your man. He said, but you don't even know what the job is. I said, I don't care what it is. I'm living out of my car. I just want to get some money coming in, and I've already told everybody in Georgia, next time they see me, I'm going to be flush. I'm not going back home with my tail between my legs. So he said, well, only job I got is a cleanup man. I need somebody to keep my toilets clean. I'm your man. You don't want to do that. Look at you. You're young, looking, you're articulate. I don't need nobody with no education like this. You need to find something else. I said, sir, I want this job. He said, are you serious? You really want this? I said, yes, give me the job. The man I was talking to was the first TV exercise guru in the 50s and 60s, and that man's name was Jack Wellane of Jack Wellane European Health Spa. The man with the jumpsuit and the chair.
Right.
That was the man. Okay.
In the world.
So he said, okay, you want the job is yours. Now, aerobics had just started taking off, getting real hot. So I'm cleaning up for 2 days, and on the third day, he comes to me, and he had this room, big room, with about 25 or 30 women in it, and they all wanted to be worked out with aerobics. But his aerobic instructor didn't show up to teach the class. So he come to me in a panic and he goes, oh my God, I got all these women in this room. And the aerobic instructor hadn't shown up to teach the class. These women want to be worked out. Can you dance? And I said, how many black men you know can dance? Damn right I can dance. He said, go in there and find some records. Listen, records, okay?
Right.
Find some records that you can dance to and put it on and just work these women out for 1 hour. I don't care what you do. As long as you make them sweat, it's yours. I went in there and we turned this thing into an 1.5-hour party. Jamming. The next day, they didn't want the old teacher. They wanted me. He said, the next day, he said, look, they don't want the old teacher. They want you. They said they had so much fun. They wanted you. And then he said, if I send you to school to become a certified aerobic instructor, will you be my aerobic instructor? I said, I sure will. I became the aerobic instructor. And 2 years later, he sold the business. And I created Sir Frank Aerobics on Wilshire Boulevard. It's in the documentary. The picture of Sir Frank Aerobics and all that. And I started making money hand over fist. Then I met this guy that had started the Comedy Act Theater. His name was Michael Williams. I went down and started helping him out. And I started meeting all these up-and-coming comedians like D.L. Hughley, like Martin Lawrence, okay? Like the Wayans brothers, all of them, and their sister, okay? All these people. I started meeting these people when they were first starting out. Robin Harris, okay? And things didn't go too well for me there because I knew I wanted to do something else. And I've never drank, I've never smoked, never had a beer, never had a cigarette, never had wine, never had liquor, nothing like that. But I have been married 7 times to 7 different women of 7 different races and ethnicities. So that was my Achilles heel, was women. But anyway, I meditate a lot. I go into a closet when I have things on my mind or when I want to accomplish something. I go into a closet and I might be there anywhere from 5 hours to 12 hours just meditating. And while I'm meditating, I came up with the idea of an award show for Black comedians because I got sick and tired of hearing all these comedians. Some of these people would be coming to the aerobics salon to work out. And they was always complaining that they never got recognized for nothing that they did. So I came up with the idea of creating an award show. And I came up with the idea and I ran the idea by my assistant, who is my vice president, Tricia Voorhees. And she's been with me for over 30 years. And I came up with the idea of started out with the Afro-American Humor Awards. And she said, no, it didn't sound right. So she said the African-American. I said, okay. And then she said, Frank, do you know each one of these letters, the beginning of each one of these letters spell the word ahas? I said, that's what we'll call it, the ahas. So the acronym is the ahas. And that's how I came.
Uh-huh.
Then I went into meditation a little bit later and came up with the slogan right here. And that is the ahas. Laughter has no color, so smile. That's our slogan. And that came to me in meditation as well. That's our slogan. That's how it all started.
You have to go inside, y'all, to find this inner quality.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And when he found it.
Yes.
That's where.
Gotta go inside.
Come on now. Woo!
There's so much creativity within us, especially as Black people. We just take it for granted. We don't tap into us, into our depthness, to find ourselves. And that's how meditation brought me to the ahas.
So let me just ask, like up until that time, I mean, because you're out here, you're trying to get work, you just left ATL to come out, to the West Coast to, build everything up. At that point in time, like before you even started the ahas, who were some of your favorite, comedians coming up, and what was it about them that you really liked?
Dick Gregory, great storyteller. I'd like to call him a purposely storyteller and funny. Red Fox, outlandish comedian, pushing the boundaries. Before him, Rudy Ray Moore, okay? Ridiculously outlandish. If you ever get a chance, audience, if you ever get a chance to hear Rudy Ray Moore does his thing about the signified monkey. it'll bring you to tears. You'll be laughing so hard. Then you had Flip Wilson. Then you had Richard Pryor.
Mm.
Then you had LaWanda Page.
Aunt Esther, y'all.
Aunt Esther, absolutely. And these people, given their background and the stuff that they went through, and I think about it, when they were coming up, all this stuff, a lot of these places were segregated. They played what was called the fiddling circuit. Mm-hmm. Now, you know that when you're dealing with a black audience, you got to be good, okay? Got to be good. Because there are people out there in the audience that take that mic from you, all right?
Quick.
You got to be good and you got to be quick. And I used to admire that. I used to admire the way they could control the crowd in whatever they talked about, and they made it funny.
I love it. I love that. I love that. Now, I know we just had a sidebar conversation before we started recording, but I want to talk a little bit about the role of humor in African American culture, because as you said, man, we get together.
Gonna be a party.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a party.
Look here, you better be funny coming out, because if you're not, somebody, hey, look here, somebody else is about to get discovered, because
there it is.
But
all right, since you said that, I'm gonna bring the young people up current today, who all think that they are the greatest thing since sliced bread. There's a TV show that's been on for 20 years. It's called Wilding Out.
Yeah,
we used to call that back in the day Jonesing. That's what we called it back in the day. When you get together and you talk about each other in each other's faces, and whoever got the biggest laugh won the contest. All right. Mm-hmm. Now, before Wilding Out came on, and this is something you can pull up, there was a young lady. At the time, she was young, and there was a young man at the time, and they did the first Wilding Out session, and that woman's name is Monique, years ago, along with another comedian right to this day named, his son just died not long ago. He plays the church lady, and he's got a radio show and a podcast. He's from Alabama. You know, I know you know who I'm talking about. He's got a podcast. His son died about 6-7 months ago. Hellacious comedian. He plays the organ, and he comes out on stage dressed as an old lady. But him and Monique had the first Wilding Out session on tape. And his name is, God dog it, see his face clear as day. Bald-headed guy now. The Brat is on his show, is on his talk show.
The Brat?
Is on his podcast. The Brat. The rapper, The Brat, she's on his podcast.
Okay. I should know this.
He does a skit about his brother named Little Darryl. I know you know who I'm talking about.
Ricky Smiley.
Ricky Smiley. That's it. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Ricky Smiley. As soon as you said Little Darryl, I'm like, yeah.
Ricky Smiley. Absolutely.
Okay.
And Monique did the first Wilding Out session on film. Look it up. Look it up. They did the first, it wasn't called Wilding Out then. They did a piece like Wilding Out way back in the day when they were young. And the shit is funny.
Wow.
Ricky Smiley and Monique sure did.
Now,
so you see, when these young people start talking about, you know, we doing this and we popular this, somebody started doing that shit long before they did. Long before they did. You just cashing in on something that was already created years ago.
Come on now, talk to me.
So give your homage. It's not gonna hurt you guys to pay tribute to Monique on your Wilding Out show. It's been there for 20 years, but it started somewhere. Somebody started it, and Monique and Ricky Smiley started that.
That's crazy.
And it's a clip that you can pull up on YouTube.
Wow.
Damn sure can, and see it.
Hey, all right. I mean, well, and
we talking history.
I already told y'all what it was going to be from the beginning. Now.
Absolutely. We're talking history.
Don't be, man, like, I didn't, look, I told you what it was.
Right on. Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So let's talk about the significance of the ahas. You know what I'm saying? Because you created this, you know, to celebrate the African-American comedian.
Absolutely.
First, but then, you know,
it morphed into minority comedians. Absolutely. All right. The purpose was, like I said, some of these stars that was on sitcoms used to come to my workout studio right down from Beverly Hills in Hollywood. All right. And they would always be complaining, our show been on the air for so long and we get overlooked again. And I got out of here now. So the seed was planted through that. The significance is to pay tribute to all these legendary comedians that have paved the way for comedians, the kind of money they're making today. They owe that shit to all those comedians that got dogs sick on them, that ran the chitlin circuit, and kept people laughing through the worst times in American history. And we still came out on top smiling and laughing. You can't keep black people down. I don't give a damn what you throw at us. We're going to find something funny about it and make you laugh about it. I don't care what it is. So I'm saying with all this talent and all the TV shows that these people have created and been on, and all the networks that they've raised the ratings to and increased their networks because of their shows to still be overlooked, somebody needs to pay tribute to these people. And that's why we created the ahas, to maintain the legacy of the history of laughter, to pay tribute to the people that led the way, and to keep that torch burning so people will never forget who paved those smooth roads that a lot of these comedians are on right to this day and making major money off of their craft, something that they created. And that's the purpose of it.
Now, when you first started, can you just talk a little bit about the first award that you presented to the first comedian of the ahas?
The first, I forgot who, I think the first award that we gave out was first award we gave out was to Mr. Leonard Reed, who was a comedian. He looked like a white guy. He was an older guy at the time that we gave him the award. As a matter of fact, he was in his 70s. But he was elated to get it. Don Bubba Bexley, Skillet, and Leroy. We're going way back. Okay.
Sanford and Son.
Sanford and Son, absolutely. LaWanda Page, Marla Gibbs, Flip Wilson, Dick Gregory. All these are legendary comedians now that people have forgotten about. And these are some of the people that started their own TV shows back in the day. Flip Wilson was the first black man to have own, produce, star in, and write his own show. Doesn't have a star on the Walk of Fame. Okay? And this man is iconic. So he opened the doors for a lot of people. We also take it even further back. The first black woman that had a talk show on a national network was actually Della Reese in the 50s. Della Reese had the first talk show. It wasn't Oprah Winfrey. Everybody think Oprah Winfrey was the one. No, Della Reese. And the actual first talk show host, black talk show host, was actually Nat King Cole. Nat King Cole had a variety show back in the day as a talk show as well. And these are the legacies that we allow our history to be just tossed to the side as though it didn't mean anything. And we at the Ahas want to preserve that. And that's the purpose of it. And that's why it's so important that we preserve our legacy. I mean, most of your white comedians, man, they copied off of black people to get that stuff. The majority of them.
Well, no, look, I can tell you right now, I can probably name, growing up, there was probably two white comedians I sort of found funny. George Carlin, Jackie Mason.
Killer.
That's it.
And if they did their bits today, they would run them off the TV.
Oh man, please.
If they did their routines today,
yeah.
Jackie Mason was funny as hell.
Oh, Jackie
Mason was funny as hell. I'll tell you another white comedian that was funny as hell. Don Rickles, the great insulter. You couldn't be in Don's audience and be woke.
Yeah.
You couldn't be in Don's audience and be woke. Because he talked about everybody. Black, white, Chinese, and he would have you rolling.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about making stuff up at the spur of the moment, right on the moment. Now those were hellacious comedians, all right? So it's people like that that we don't forget. But because there are so many award shows for whites, and there's nothing for blacks.
That's true.
We later on said we're gonna honor minority comedians. I'm gonna give you another historical fact about a minority comedian. All right. We did a tribute to Red Fox at the Wiltern E. Bell Theater in LA for Red Fox when he had his last TV show called The Royal Family, him and Della Reese.
I remember that.
Yes, we honored them. Okay. There was a young Korean girl that wanted to go on stage and do 3 minutes. And I said, Margaret Cho, if you go on stage, you're in front of a black audience. And if you are not funny, they'll boo you or start throwing stuff on stage. Do you really want to do this? Margaret said, I'm funny. I'm telling you, Frank, please just give me 3 minutes. I said, Margaret, I really don't want to do that because I've never seen you do anything. She said, and her girlfriends, they were gay. They were cross-dressers. They said, no, she's funny. She's funny. From San Francisco, she's funny as hell. Please give her 3 minutes. I said, okay, Margaret, I'm going to give you 2 minutes. You got 2 minutes to go on stage in front of this black audience and do your thing. Make them laugh. Now, this is a Red Fox tribute. Margaret went on stage as a young unknown comedian and brought the house down and wound up doing 20 minutes. Brought the damn house down. Brought the house down. Brother, when I say she brought the house down, I mean, we're talking standing ovations, we're talking hooping and hollering, we're talking people damn near pissing in their pants. That's how funny that woman was. When she walked off stage, I said, I'm gonna tell you now, you're in the right place to further your career. Whatever you do, don't ever let anybody discourage you, because I'm gonna tell you something. You got something and you need to further your career because you can make it. And a couple of years later, she became the first Asian to have a sitcom on primetime TV, and it was called The Great American Girl or something like that. Margaret Cho.
Wow.
Now that's history for you.
That's history.
That's history.
Wow. Okay.
Another minority comedians that the Ahas honor was a Hispanic comedian named almost called his name. Oh God, I almost called his name. I see his place. Rodriguez. I think his name is. Carlos Rodriguez, I want to say.
Yeah. I was going to say Benny Rodriguez. I don't think it's Benny.
No. But anyway, Hispanic comedian, hellacious comedian. He later on became an activist for Hispanic people working in the fields picking fruits in Bakersfield. His name, God dog it.
Okay.
Can't think of his name, but anyway, we honored him as well. We honored him as well. Sure did. So we've tossed that trophy around to people that.
Well, and I mean that's what I find fascinating because when we talk about comedy and especially those of us who, and I'm just going to consider myself a fan of comedy, but not only a fan of comedy, a student as well, because you have to study. And
a connoisseur of comedy. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you, sir. I feel.
Yes.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I got you, brother. I got you.
Somebody give me my wine, please. Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
But no, like as a connoisseur of comedy, you have to know these things. You have to know what's for you, what's not for
Absolutely.
you.
Absolutely.
And we're going to talk about it. As a matter, well, you know what? We're going to get into it right now.
All right, let's get it.
So when we're really talking about comedy, okay, and true comedy, all right, comedy through the years.
Right.
50s, 60s, 70s,
right.
80s, 90s.
Right.
I just feel like in this day and age, there's a big disconnect because it's not about laughs. It's all about likes.
Yes.
You know, it's more about like how many views I can get for this.
Absolutely.
It's funny or not. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
How many pairs of eyes can I get on me doing this? Now, whatever you say is whatever you say. And I feel like today, comedy is being disrespected by those who should not be doing comedy. Because and maybe you could back me up on this, there are people that comedy is for, and man, it is for you. This is your calling. This is
your calling. Absolutely. Absolutely.
There are some people who are doing comedy. They're okay. They're all right.
Yes.
You know, not really hitting me over the head too hard.
Absolutely.
I'm not bored. But then there's some people who just should not be doing comedy because this is something you just decided to like get into for shits and
get a paycheck. To get a paycheck. And to get notoriety.
Yeah.
And to get, like you say, the likes. How many likes can I get?
Man, and this shit's not funny. I mean, I'm just gonna keep it real. It's just not funny. I'm not a fan of it. And there are some certain rappers, I'm not gonna name no names, T.I., you know, who have gone out here and, you know, they're trying to like
they shouldn't break into the comedy.
Yeah, like bro.
They're not cut out for that.
You're not cut. This is not your lane. So I want to talk about that because I remember, and we had talked about this during COVID, the internet comedian.
Absolutely.
Blew up.
Yes.
Okay. And don't get me wrong, there are certain internet comedians who have blown up. They're somewhat funny. I like Country Wayne. I think Country Wayne
I like Country Wayne too. Some of his skits are very funny.
Some of his skits are very funny. I sort of like Big Ja and his little crew. They have funny skits. But, you know, like, I always talk about the stage and the light. Okay?
Yes.
Stages and lights. All right? When you, like, it's one thing standing behind the camera, pushing that red button to get the what you want. But then there's a totally different thing when you have to stand on stage. The light is on. It is hot.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
You have to perform. Can you just really talk about like that transformation and how it has really gone away from the stage and now it's just more in your face because now we're all on these now and we're just filming and doing whatever?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, my take on this, see, I'm sort of like you. The internet did create a lot of internet comics, okay? And just like you just said, the difference between standing in front of a camera trying to be funny and standing in front of a live audience is this. That camera is not going to talk back to you. If you say something in front of that camera ain't going to try to top you with a joke out of the audience, out of nothing. You say something and it ain't funny, that camera ain't going to say, you ain't funny, get off the stage in the middle of your routine, okay? If you say something that ain't funny, the camera ain't going to look at you and go, oh man, I heard that shit somewhere else. Okay? So you are not challenged as a comedian when you are standing in front of a camera doing this shit. It don't take balls to go and stand in front of a camera and try to be funny. It take balls to walk out there on that stage in front of a live audience and you can't see nothing, like we were saying a while ago, nothing but maybe the front row or the second row, maybe. And you don't know what else is beyond that.
Right.
You can't control the voices coming from way back that you don't know where it's coming from, throwing shit up there on stage because what you just said was not that funny, okay? But you gotta react to it right away. Because if you don't react to what they just said out here, then you're gonna look like an idiot. Now you're losing control of your show. So there is not a challenge as a live stand-up comedian. It take balls, it take guts to be up there and do 15 minutes. Because I've seen comics go on stage and die, but they did their damn time. They still stood there and took that punishment. I've seen, give you an example, there's a lady named Phyllis Stickney. She's an actress.
Yes.
Played in New Jack City as a lawyer. Phyllis Stickney, hellacious actress. She played on another show with all these black women getting together. I want to say When Stella Got a Groove On, but I don't think it was that. It was another movie.
Waiting to Exhale.
Waiting to Exhale. Now we talking, brother. See, that's why I like talking to brothers who are knowledgeable. Thank you. Okay. I remember Phyllis Stickney going on stage at the Comedy Act Theater. She was doing a routine. And her brother kept interrupting to the point to where it got to be a little annoying. Now, Phyllis, I think she used to practice Muslim. I don't know if she's still a Muslim or not. But there was some Muslim brothers in the audience. They didn't like it. And one voice came out of the audience and said, brother, if you do disrespect the sister one more time, we're going to meet you outside. Well, the brother said something. They took him outside. And what happened? I don't know. I don't know what happened after that. But I know he never came back to the Comedy Act Theater and helped nobody else.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of challenges as a live stand-up comic that you are faced with. So when you go out here and you say, well, I'm funny on the internet, a lot of people can be funny. You can write a script down and be funny. But how can you deliver it when you got interruptions, unforeseen objects or verbiage coming at you that you haven't practiced for or rehearsed? When you can come on stage and somebody throw something at you out there verbally and you can shut them down just like that. That's a comic. So until you can do that, I'm not impressed. I've seen the best.
Look, and to your point, like you're on the spot, like you're here. So, and I want to say there's like a video of oh God, I think his last name is Crockett. Afrion Crockett. I think I'm saying his first name wrong. Please forgive me. But there's a video of him doing a comedy set and a woman tries to come on stage and disrupts his set. But as you said, you have to be quick on your feet.
Yes.
So he just went right into like attack mode, like if you're coming up here to, embarrass me, whatever, you're about to find out. You're the one who's about to get embarrassed, okay?
Absolutely. And see, that's why I say, when the guy attacked Dave Chappelle on stage, all right, think about that. A guy comes on stage and attacks Dave Chappelle. And afterwards, they beat the shit out of him. But did you see how his arm was all twisted? They beat the shit out of him. But Dave, the show still went on, and Dave was still funny. That's a challenge. That's a challenge. When T.I. was on stage and this girl interrupted, and instead of him handling that in a comedic way, he got angry. He lost his cool. And see, professional comedians, they don't have to do that. They can shut you down with words. In other words, okay, you want to wild out on my stage? All right, brought it on stage. Let's go on and turn this shit into a show. I'll tell you another comedian that was good at that. A white guy by the name of Robin Williams. Mark and Mindy.
More from Art? My man.
A lot of people say the word genius about a lot of comedians. But Robin Williams was a genius, here to tell you. I've seen Robin take a piece of paper something like this, a piece of paper, and will have you laughing so hard just talking about this damn piece of paper. He'll have you laughing so hard, you'll pee on yourself. That's genius. I've seen Robin do that. I've seen D.L. Hughley shut an audience down when they try to heckle him. I've seen Monique make people leave her doggone a stage, leave her auditorium when she's performing. Because if you throw some shit up there, you better be prepared to catch whatever she's coming back with, because she's throwing something at you. And it's going to be deadly. Those are comedians. Those are comedians. I've seen Chris Thomas wipe out a whole front row section that was heckling him. And he shut him down so bad, man, I'm telling you, I started crying.
Chris Thomas, bro. Oh my God.
I'm telling you, man.
You have best. So, okay, to your point, Chris Thomas. Oh my.
Yes.
And for those of you who have
Bad brother.
no idea what the hell we're talking about, I'm about to let you in on a little something for
School him, brother.
little
School him.
rap heads and all that. You know,
School him, brother.
if you
School
love
him.
hip hop, then you know who the mayor Chris Thomas is. Okay.
School him.
So there's a show used to come on BET, Rap City. Okay.
Absolutely.
Before there was Big Tigger, before there
Absolutely.
was Claire, who is
Absolutely.
right in his own right. Sometimes Joe is hit or miss. I'm just gonna keep it real, Joe. But man, there was Chris C.T. Thomas, the man.
Chris Thomas.
And he would get on, he would do a Cosby, you know, impersonation.
Absolutely.
He would do a couple
Absolutely.
of other impersonations.
Absolutely.
But yeah. And I'm gonna even put this in greater context for all my old school hip hop heads.
Okay.
There's a music video by Public Enemy called
Absolutely.
Night of the Living Basshead.
Look at you. Look at
Okay.
you. Okay.
One of my
I'm telling you.
personal favorite songs. And
Okay.
by the time I get to Arizona, the video, y'all gotta watch the video when you blow up the continent. But anyway, okay, moving on. But Chris C.T. Thomas is in the video, and he's
In the video.
a little skit about crackheads, about bass.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
You see the kids running around. You see the mama based out. This, that.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, cracked out, because back in the day they called it
Absolutely.
crack, whatever for you people. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, Chris C.T. Thomas was the first host of Rap City. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a fact. YouTube it, Google it. I don't care what you do. Boom, history. Boy,
Chris Thomas.
Y'all gonna get this, man. Y'all gonna get this gospel tonight. Just like-
Another piece of history about Chris Thomas and the Ahas. Chris Thomas was one of the first young comedian recipients of the Ahas 30 years ago, and he was one of our presenters at the Ahas with a lady, this is gonna blow your mind, with a lady that was hosting the show for me, the first Carly B of music. Her name was Millie Jackson. Millie Jackson, the first Carly B. Okay? Now, if you really want to hear a woman get down and talk about things in a metaphoric term and get her point across, listen to some of Millie Jackson's music.
And I ain't talking about tonight is the night you make me a woman type Millie
No.
Jackson. So you got some other stuff on
We
there.
talking about Millie Jackson sitting on a toilet stool on her first album, on one of her album covers called The Shitter. Okay? Now, you young people, if y'all think Carly B is bad, listen to some Millie Jackson. And I'm talking about her band was one of the baddest bands. Her band was just about as bad as James Brown band. Tell it.
Jackson boy was tough.
Now that's some trivia for you. Chris Thomas sure was. Yes. Chris also hosted the 30th anniversary 2001 for me here in Vegas. And I was just with Chris 2 weeks ago in Chicago.
Here, people, Chicago, where I am. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Mhm.
Absolutely.
So, man, we trying to tell y'all, look.
I'm telling you, brother.
Okay.
We talking history.
Wow.
We talking history. We talking trivia here. Absolutely. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Okay, so let me just ask 2 questions.
Okay.
Technically 3, but 2. What do you think some of the real challenges are today for African American comedians?
The challenge today is this. You have a craft. Your job is to find funny in reality. In other words, remember, I don't know, well, back in the day when we were young, we used to have to take some medicine twice a year. At the spring of the year, we would take it, and at the fall of the year, we would take it. And that was a cup of what used to be called castor oil. It was some thick-ass liquid shit that you had to take, but it would run through your bowels like a freight train, because if you were on the playground and you got to fart, don't fart, because if you do, it's out.
Oh, God.
And you know, back in the day, they used to take sugar and lemon juice and mix with it so it'll be easier to take down. Well, see, the comedians have lost, a lot of them are losing that ability to take what comes with the comedy that they really want to do, which is called freedom of speech. You can say whatever you want to say, and you can say it whenever you want to say it. Just be prepared to deal with the consequences. If you believe in what you are doing, and you know it is not going to kill you as the delivery of that person or that speech or whatever you're doing, your comedy, then you stand by your convictions, because all you're doing is exercising your freedom of speech rights. Now, if you don't want to hear what I got to say, but you don't like what I got to say, get your ass up. You paid to come in here, get your ass up, get the hell out, because you are not going to stop my routine. I'm not only going to talk about you, but I'm going to talk about your mama, your daddy, your sister, your brother, and your dog. If you don't like that, get up and leave. So freedom of speech, they're trying to govern that, to me, with these young comedians now. And comedy is not about that. Comedy is about taking life itself, finding the funny in it so it can be easily digested. Because you can deliver bad news in any shape, form, or fashion. But if you deliver bad news with funny, I can take it a hell of a lot easier. Even though it's true, and it might hurt me, but damn it, I can take that a little bit easier than you just being harsh, throwing it out there saying, here's a toast of castor oil and just drink it down without any tastes.
And, you know, to really go along with your point, because I am in total agreement, I feel as if they're taking the funny out of comedy, and they're putting serious in the comedy.
Yes, they're trying to politicize it.
Right. And
they're doing.
Like, you can't do that to comedy, because comedy talks about politics. You know, they make fun of politics.
Absolutely.
So, like, it's like a losing battle almost, in a sense, because eventually those who truly do this, they're going to come back and they're going to come forward again. Like,
absolutely.
Everything comes in waves, you know? So as you started out doing the ahas, even before then, you had like the black exploitation movies or whatever.
Yes.
We were talking about the Dolomites.
Yes.
And tornadoes and all these, Uptown Saturday Night.
Yes.
All these great movies.
Yes.
During this point in time that had huge comedic undertones.
Absolutely.
That poked fun, as you said, at everything. And of course, the punchline was always getting over on the man.
Absolutely. And that was the goal. Even back in slavery days, the slaves work all week long out there in the hot sun, picking cotton, corn, or whatever they're doing. And master would give you Saturday night, you had Saturday night off. Well, Saturday night is when you went out dancing, joking, telling jokes, and having fun, drinking. Saturday night was your night to let everything loose, and you let all that shit go away. And the reason our ancestors was able to put up with all those harsh things working in the field If you look at some of those old movies, or you talk to some of your great grandparents or your grandparents, they can tell you about the gospel songs or the rock and roll songs that these people would be singing in rhythm, picking cotton, because we always did things with a rhythm to it. That makes us different from any other race out there. You can find any other race, they can do anything that they want, anything that we do. And the reason we do it so well, because we do it with a rhythm. That's something that nobody can take from Black people. We have a natural rhythm about doing everything. So they could work 10 and 12 hours. As long as those songs were being sang, as long as those hymns were being sung, and they were all in sync, shit, you could work your ass off. And they knew that. And then on Sunday mornings, they would tell you, now keep in mind, you were forbade to learn how to read. So they would have somebody to bring that Bible out, and on Sundays, they would indoctrinate you as to how to be an obedient Negro. Think about it.
Sound a lot like
Sounds a lot like today. Think about it. Absolutely.
You're saying it sounds a lot like today.
Comedy has played. Man, if it wasn't for comedy, can you imagine how many damn Nate Turners there would have been back in the day?
Oh, God. Running through, just taking everybody out. Man,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Because that frustration gonna have to come out somewhere. It's gonna have to come out somewhere. Woo. And we did it by way of entertaining ourselves. And we did it through comedy, dance, music. And that's why we have always done things rhythmatic. Everything we do has a rhythm.
I like the way you talked about how, it's basically, comedy is a tool for healing, y'all. It's a tool for empowerment.
Yes.
And it is a tool for all of this.
Yes.
And I know sometimes you hear people say, well, man, you can't take nothing serious. Yeah, we are taking it serious, but do you just want me to be serious taking this news and just, man?
Do you want me to hit you across the head with a blunt instrument, or do you want me to put a little glove on it and make it just a little soft? You're going to still get hit across the head.
Man, I just want the blow to not be as harsh. And I'm going to be able to take it and absorb it. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Without getting knocked out. So,
absolutely. Yeah. There's a comedian, he's dead now, funny as hell. He was always on the edge. His name is Patrice O'Neal. Patrice O'Neal tells the story in a comedic way about slavery. Whenever he would see a mixed couple in the audience, especially if it was black and white, he would tell the story about it. His brother is sitting here with this white woman in my audience. And brother, I am so glad to see you, because you're doing things that her great-grandfather would hang you for, all right? And then he would break it down to her in a realistic form, but it would be funny as hell. He said, now, but every time I see a scene like this, I think about how your grandfather, great-grandfathers, used to do my great-grandfather. And that is, your grandfather would come down to the shed and screw any damn black woman he wanted to. And his grandfather couldn't do a damn thing about it. His had to take it. He said, so let's reverse this shit. Now, brother, you got a white woman sitting on your damn arm in front of all these damn white people. So we're going to call her Susan. So how would you like it if you were in the damn field and your white daddy was out there in the field working hard as hell? and you, the master, black man, and you walk down there in the field and say, look, I want Susan, your white daughter, to meet me up in the room at 5 o'clock this evening because I'm going to fuck her brains out. Brought the house down. The house down.
Crazy.
It was true, but it was funny. True, but funny. Digestible, and it made you think.
I love it, man.
I'm telling you. And this is what makes Dave Chappelle so outstanding. I saw Dave tell a joke in reverse form. He gave you the punchline first before he even told you the story. And when he got to the end of the story, His shit was funny as hell. But he had already given you the punchline before he started the story.
Yeah.
Amazing. Smart. See, these comedians, they are not no dumb people. These people are not dumb at all.
Well, you have to have a certain type of intellect to be
absolutely.
Like, I mean, come on, like your wit has to be through the roof.
Absolutely. And you got to be quick. You got to be quick. You got to be on point. Now tell me what internet comedian can do some shit?
I haven't seen him do it yet.
You. So you really can't put your level of comedic talent against somebody that's going out there hitting them damn bricks, hitting that stage every night. You can't compare that because there's no comparison.
And I'm gonna tell you this too. One thing I know that they used to do, but you don't see it as much now, but you only see it through Netflix. I remember when HBO had their comedy specials.
Comedy specials, yes.
Cinemax had
yes.
Comedy specials. Showtime.
Absolutely.
Comedy specials.
Absolutely.
Man, like the Chris Rock show. I remember the Chris Rock show.
Absolutely.
Some of the funniest stuff ever.
Absolutely.
Some of the funniest stuff.
Absolutely.
I remember those, like, okay, yeah, like this comedian is going to be on this day, this comedian is going to be on this day. But you had a chance if you had cable, or if you had the illegal cable. It don't really matter. But you had the chance to actually watch and listen and take in. And as I said before, if something is truly funny, if something really affects you, you're going to be talking about it in some shape, form, or fashion. Throughout the week, throughout the month, throughout the year, throughout your life.
Absolutely. One of my biggest pet peeves with comedians today is this. A lot of comedians take things from other comedians. Now, all comedians have done that. But back in the day, during the Robin Harris period coming up, D.L. Hughley period coming up, Martin Lawrence coming up, Jamie Foxx, if they took and used your material, they would give you credit for that on stage. They say, look, I got this from such and such and such. Because some comedians can deliver different lines better than another one, even though it might be his material. So it used to be not a big deal if you gave credit to the person that you gave them from, that you got it from. But now they just take your stuff and claim that they came up with it themselves. And I'm like, I've heard that before. Somebody else delivered that, you know? And it's not gonna hurt them to acknowledge who they got it from.
You know, it's so funny you even say that. I had a comedian on my platform maybe 2 years back from Chicago, and another comedian from Chicago that's a little bit more known took this comedian's joke, didn't give him credit for it. The comedian got upset, you know, and basically wanted to sue the other comedian.
I know.
And I just remember talking to them, and I was asking the question, well, if you created something so funny once, could you not create something so funny again? You know what I'm saying? And try to make it better than the original.
Absolutely.
But in his head, as you were saying, it wasn't about that. It was about you taking my material, giving me credit for it, not even shouting me out.
Absolutely.
So now I'm hell bent on getting
absolutely.
Which, you know, hey, you know, I don't get involved in those types of things.
I can dig it.
You know, my whole train of thought was, if you focus on your craft, man, like people are always going to steal. People are always going to steal.
That's right. And take it as a compliment. My shit was good enough for you. All I want you to do is just acknowledge where you got it from. That's all. Just acknowledge where you got it from. I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that.
Okay.
When I hear about comedians having beef with each other now, I'm saying, look, all y'all are making money. Why are you having beef? That makes no damn sense to me. Your job is to be funny. Your job ain't supposed to be out here trying to be gangster. I mean, so what? So what? This one had a bigger crowd than you. So what? Your crowd loved you. That's why they paid to come and see you. So cater to your crowd. You're worried about somebody else. You know, it don't make sense for comedians to be getting into arguments with each other. I mean, I just hate that. I really do. And back in the day, you never heard about no comedian having a beef with another comedian. They didn't do stuff like that, even though they might have disliked the hell out of each other. But when they were professional, they were professional. When they met each other and they worked together. Nobody knew they had beef.
Because for them, man, they all have one common goal, is to get this time on the stage.
Thank you.
How much time am I getting?
Thank you. That was the main concern. How much time am I getting? It wasn't even about the pay. It was about how much time can I get. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Look, ladies and gentlemen, I told y'all, boy, look, not history, his story. All right?
Absolutely.
Man,
absolutely.
Peak this culture, peak these nuggets that
absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely.
I mean, not from me, okay? But from Mr. Cooper. First name ain't Mark. We ain't in the Bay.
That's right.
Okay,
that's right.
About Sir Frank.
That's right. And by the way, audience, if you happen to run into Jay-Z and Beyonce, let them know that I am the original Sir. This name was given to me 70 years ago. And when my father had the fortitude to come up with that, and the purpose was, back then, black men got no respect. And he said, they're going to respect you whether they want to or not. Your first name will be Sir. But just because your name is Sir, it doesn't mean that they're going to respect you. You have to earn that respect. Henceforth, your name, first name, is Sir. And that's how I got my name.
Yeah, insight, bro. Like
history.
He already knew
history.
What it was.
Absolutely. Because see, back then, you were never referred to, if you were black, as a man or a mister. You were either called a boy from the time you were born up until you were about 35 or 40 years old. You were a boy. And when you got to be 35 or 40, they referred to you as Uncle this and Uncle that. What white people used to do. Hence, Uncle Tom's Cabin. When he got to be a grown man, they started calling him Uncle. There's a lot of history behind this stuff that we take for granted.
I mean, well, we've already talked about Barrel of Laughs.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, we'll talk about that. Man, I'll talk about that with y'all on the YouTube because
absolutely. Absolutely.
Maybe true.
Absolutely.
But anyway.
Absolutely.
All right. Woo! Okay.
Yeah, I know it's a lot. It's a lot to cover.
It's just a lot to take in. But let me just ask, like, as far as the future of the AHAs, like,
okay. Well, what we want to do in our bylaws 30 years ago, I put in our bylaws 30 years ago when we wrote the concept. That is, the AHAs have four purposes. Preserving the history of comedy, especially with minorities. The healing power of laughter. To create a museum for artifacts, concerts, movies, everything that's got to do with minority comics, movies, TV shows, all that can be put in a museum so other people and our younger black generation can come and take a look and walk among some of those artifacts. Like, for example, in the museum, I want to find a truck that Sanford and Son used to have, that red Ford pickup truck, and put in the museum. That gold album, Rudy Ray Moore's gold album that I just showed you a while ago, that album goes into the museum. When I told you the petition to the Hollywood board of the Walk of Fame for Flip Wilson's star on the Walk of Fame, those artifacts need to be in a museum so people can see we haven't given up on our legacy or our history. And it is about preserving that. And last but not least, the fourth thing is to have a fund to where it is that when comedians fall on hard times, they get sick, we can make a donation. Or if one of them die and they're living in poverty, we can help with the burial. We can help relieve some of the financial pressures off the family. Because let's face it, a lot of these guys do die broke. No matter how much money they make, they usually die broke or pretty bad off. And And I really hate to see stuff like that happen. I hate to see somebody say, we got to get a GoFundMe for such and such and such. And this man brought so much joy and laughter in our lives through the years. I hate to see that. So those are the 4 things that we want to do with the AHA.
And well, let me just say this, hats off to the comedians out there grinding, still in these trenches.
Absolutely.
I personally want to give a shout out to a few comedians that are in LA that are from Chicago. Corey Holcomb,
Curry.
Yeah.
Bad boy.
They don't
funny as hell. Tells it like it is.
Tells it like it is.
Talking about freedom of speech. Exercise your right, brother.
You see what freedom of speech got him?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, he tells it like it is.
But I love him. Man, Corey, you already know. You come to the show, you already know what's up. There's another comedian. I know he just started getting back out there, but he came up with the Robin Harrises and D.L. Hughley's from Chicago.
Uh-huh.
Not as known, but Andre Lavelle.
I know Andre.
Andre Lavelle.
I don't know him personally, but I've seen him do stand-up. You're right. He came up during the Robin Harris days. Yes, Andre Lavelle. Yes, I remember him. Absolutely. I'll tell you another one that's funny as hell, too. He went through some rough times and still going through it a little. Eric Spears. Funny as hell. Bring the house down.
Hey.
Very, very sharp, very witty, and have to give my hats off to him.
Yeah, man. Like, there are tons of them who just, at one point in time, probably did have the spotlight, but as we talk about, man, and personally, for me, like, once Def Comedy Jam went away, because as bad as we wanted Comic View to be Def Comedy Jam, it just wasn't. And that's no rip on BET and you or what have you, because I've watched Comic View, but Comic View can be very hit or miss. And if it's different, you're turning. Def Comedy Jam, you're not really turning away from that, because we're talking about the young, up and coming, and somewhat older comedians. Boom, they're just getting it to you on the stage. And I mean, man, there was just something about that. And when that
Absolutely. Cedric the Entertainer.
Come on.
Pierre.
Yes.
Man, you talking. I mean, I remember. Tell you a quick story. This is a piece of history too. There was a new apartment building that they had built in LA off of Wilshire Boulevard called Gramercy Place. Brand spanking new, about 10 stories high. Absolutely beautiful place. Well, I was the first Black person to go in that building, and I had to sue them to get into the building. And later on, who came was a guy, a stand-up comic that went on to be a TV star, Mark Curry, hanging with Mr. Cooper. He came into that building. There was another unknown singer, comic, and actor by the name of Jamie Foxx. It came into that building after I sued them, let Black people in. And then last but not least, there was another young Black comedian from my hometown, Atlanta, Georgia. I didn't know him until he moved in, but I got to know him. And his name was Chris Tucker. Me, Chris Tucker, Jamie Foxx, and Mark Curry, we all lived in the same damn building at one time. And I used to teach aerobics in the basement of that building. So if you ever run into any of them, ask them if they remember a guy named Sir Cooper Aerobics that used to teach aerobics in the basement of that building that I lived in. And when I moved into the building, like I said, I had to sue them. And I wound up getting a hell of a deal for 3 years. Because they refused to let anybody Black in there.
Well, I mean, and it's so funny that you mentioned that building. There's a street in LA called
Gramercy Place.
Yeah, there's an actual street.
Yeah, it was right off of it was on Gramercy.
Okay, so I lived in when I left here to go to LA with my wife, we stayed off Pico and Wilton, so you can walk. Pico
and Wilton.
Yep.
Yeah, you lived over there where a famous singer,
Marvin Gaye,
lived, and Marvin Gaye lived in that gated neighborhood.
Marvin Gaye lived right
down the street from Gramercy Place. Absolutely. Right there. Damn, brother. Man, small world.
Very.
Small world. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Because I'm a huge Marvin Gaye fan, and when I learned that, when I was out there, like, Marvin Gaye used to, blah 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 blah. He still has. I'm like Marvin Gaye. I'm like, here, like, no, man. They're like, no, yeah, man. Like
Marvin Gaye and Lou Rawls. Yes, absolutely.
Oh, now.
And I will tell you, I had a few clients that lived in that neighborhood, in that gated neighborhood. I had a few clients. Sure did.
Boy, look at see, ladies and gentlemen, y'all, man,
brother.
The universe cross.
I'll pass across sometime, and I'll pass, man. We passed, sure have. Yeah, I was doing it, man. I was doing it. I got to tell you this right quick. A famous picture I found. Well, my wife found it this past week. I had to send Miss Jones a story to go on the net. And this was when we had done our first Father's Day award for fathers. And what we would do, we would honor 15 Black fathers, 15 minority fathers who had set forth a good image of Black men. She found this picture. She said, Frank, who are all these people on this picture? And I realized when I saw the picture, I said, oh my God, we honored these iconic men. And there were 3 of them. You remember when Rodney King got beat? You remember what his lawyer's name was? Milton Grimes.
Ooh.
We honored Milton Grimes.
Okay.
He's on that picture. You remember O.J. Simpson, the O.J. Simpson trial with Johnny Cochran? We honored Johnny Cochran and his sidekick that sat beside him every day in court. And that man's name was Carl Thomas.
Okay.
And last but not least, there was a journalist, a Black journalist, that used to be the editor-in-chief of a magazine called Image magazine. And his name was, sweetheart, do you remember the name of the guy from Curry? Last name is Curry. We honored those 3 major Black men who played a major role in African-American history during our lifetime. And I had forgotten that we had honored those 3 men along with a few other Black men. We honored an Olympic weightlifter. I think his name is George Curry. George Curry of Image magazine.
Okay.
Emerge magazine. Okay. Yeah. We honored him. Paul Douglas, attorney at law. Willie Brown, the first Black mayor of San Francisco. I mean, and it didn't dawn on me. And here's the picture. It did not dawn on me until after I saw the picture. I said, well, I just be darned. These men made history, and we honor them. You know, I've honored so many famous people that I tell you, it's just amazing that I just can't seem to get a sponsor. But we are going to be doing the AHAs 2024, October 6th. It's on a Sunday. So make a date. The AHAs in Las Vegas, Nevada, October 6th, 2024. And it'll be a black tie affair, so make sure everybody come and support us. Because we are definitely, we're going to be honoring some of the legends that we've sent letters out to is Joe Marie Payton France from Family Matters, Urkel's neighbor. Okay, we're going to honor her. We're going to honor Juliet Lewis of Blackish. I think it's Blackish. Her and Fishburne, Lawrence Fishburne.
Okay.
And we want to honor John Amos of Good Times because he's never been honored. Nobody's never given him an award out of all these damn years. Think about that. And this man was iconic. That show was iconic. Okay. And there is somebody else that we're going to honor too. We're trying to get in touch with the lady that played on Night Court.
Marsha Warfield.
Marsha Warfield.
Come on. Chicago. Come on now. Come on.
All right. Just checking. Yes. Those are the people that we have sent letters to let them know that we're going to honor them. And see, we're sending them out early enough for them to put us on their docket so they can't say, well, you didn't give us enough time. Because, Negroes come up with all kinds of excuses. And I'm saying there's no excuse now. You got more than a year to prepare for this particular day.
I didn't get you in there a year and a half. If you don't come on, look, you better come on now.
I'm telling you, absolutely. So we're gonna keep doing it, brother. And like I say, pass the information on to some of your other podcasters and let them know, hey, man, we made history and we continue making history and we're gonna keep doing it until the wheels fall off.
Look, before I get out of here, I just gotta ask you one more thing.
All right.
I'm gonna ask you about one person and one person I know that you find near and dear to your heart.
Okay.
Rudy Ray Moore. Dolomite. Can you talk a little bit about Mr. Moore?
Rudy was not only a comedian, he was a producer, director, writer, actor, and he distributed his own damn movies. That's how bad that brother was, okay? Talked a lot of shit, but he was funny as hell. When they made the movie, I'm gonna tell this story. When they made the movie, Eddie Murphy, depicting his life 4 years ago, and My Name is Dolomite. Well, Netflix contacted me and said, Mr. Cooper, we understand that you honored Rudy Ray Moore 30 years ago on this first award show. And I said, yeah, we did. And they said, well, we want to know what you thought about the movie. I said, well, y'all did a damn good movie. Depicting his life because he was like that. That's the way he was. I said, and Eddie did a fantastic job playing it. I said, but the movie was about the makings of this man's first comedy album, which was titled Eat Out More Often. And I said, you left out the part that movie 50 years ago, that movie sold over 500,000 copies and it went gold. And the man from Netflix said, no. It didn't go gold. We didn't find nothing like that out. I said, well, if you'd have done your research about the album, you would have found out that album did go gold. He said, how do you know that album went gold? I said, I know because the man himself told me the album went gold. And I said, not only did he tell me it went gold, I said, after we did the award show, 30 days later, all these legendary comedians got together and threw a dinner in my honor in LA at this hotel. And at that dinner, Rudy Ray Moore presented that gold album to me as a token of his love and appreciation for what he had done with the award. And he said, are you kidding me? I was like, no. He said, well, where's the album now? I said, it's been hanging on my wall for 30 years. He actually said, do you mind if we send somebody out to authenticate this? Send them on out. 2 days later, guy come to Vegas, come out to the house. And I said, he said, where's the album? I said, it's hanging upstairs. Thank God I had enough sense to put the album jacket on the back of that album.
Yes.
The wife took it somewhere. But anyway, I showed it to him. He said, oh my God, do you realize how much money you've had hanging on your wall for the last 30 years? I said, no, it wasn't about money. Where's the album, baby? I said, no, I don't know. I said, no, I never thought about it in monetary value. It was given to me as a token of their love. And he said, well, I just can't believe this. This is the album. And this is the original album jacket. And that is solid gold. And that's been hanging on my wall, been with me for over 30 years. And Rudy gave that to me. And I got it on film, so you can go to YouTube, pull up the Ahas, you can see him actually giving me that gold album. Along with another famous comedian now, who we gave his first award to, and that was a man by the name of Steve Harvey. We gave Steve Harvey his very first award for a TV show he did over 30 years ago called Me and the Boys, but depicting a black father raising 3 sons by himself in a positive manner. And he accepted it, and that's on film as well. And he literally broke down in tears on stage on that film.
I just want to know, did he have a thick mustache back then?
Yeah, he had a thick mustache. And I think there was a wig on his head too, because it was pretty black. It was pretty damn black.
Look, I ain't even gonna get into them stories because I'm like, man, I'm like, brother.
It was not naturally black. It was really black. Okay. But you damn right, I gotta give it to him. I ain't never seen a brother wear a wig like he did. I'm telling you. I mean, he had a line on that wig all the way around through by his ears, man. I'm telling you. That was a sharp ass wig. I don't know who did it. He was ready. I'm telling you. So I will, Steve, you know how to wear a wig, brother.
Like, hey.
Made me want to go out and think about buying one.
Oh, man. I had to make sure I had the Steve line in,
the Steve line.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it was clean.
Line, man.
I'm telling you. And he looked good. He did. He looked good as hell.
You know,
so I give him that, but yes, we gave him his first. So I'm here to I know we got to close it out, but I want to let all the young comedians know. First of all, you have a God-given right, as well as a constitutional right, freedom of speech. If you want to be a comedian, you go out there and you do what feels good and what's right to you, as long as you're telling the truth and you're not hurting anybody. Because freedom of speech is very important. Just be prepared to deal with whatever the consequences are, but be man enough to stand behind what comes out of your mouth. Don't make nobody make you backtrack. Anything that you say is the truth. And the slogan for the Ahas is, laughter has no color, so just smile. You got a good one, brother. Nice teeth.
Appreciate it. Man, look here. Look.
Yes, sir.
For Int Man, and y'all better go out here and search as well. But absolutely, for those who want to follow you online, they want to check out the websites, YouTube page, all that stuff, how can they do so?
They can do so by going to It's the Ahas, all one word, itstheahas.com. And you can see clips of the film I just got through telling you about Rudy Ray Moore giving me the gold album, as well as Steve Harvey receiving. And you will also get a chance to see Joe Marie Payton France go off. And when I say go off on the people that did not show up to receive the awards. You should hear what she had to say to those people. And she also called names in that rant. And it's on there. It's the Ahas, and you can also follow me at sirfrankcooper.com. So you guys have a wonderful day. My brother, it was more than a pleasure. It's just a pleasure to talk to someone that know about some of the people that we talked about today, some of those legends. And this really was an education.
This man,
very educational.
Hey, I've said it before, I'm gonna say it again. This platform is about 2 words: informative content. Okay?
My brother, you brought it. Today, you brought it. Trust me. You brought it.
Man, look, Sir Frank Cooper, y'all. Look, I just want to thank you for being on the platform tonight, coming through, just dropping
fantastic
bombs and gems at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my God. Like, just the history. Like, I'm just telling y'all, like, the conversation we had before we even got started, that was
it got deep. It got deep.
Man, just giving y'all the leftovers, but yeah.
Yes, indeed. Well, there's a book coming out. And it's actually called, the title is going to be Reflections of a Gigolo.
Listen.
I'm going to leave that with you.
No. You have to come back for.
All right.
Man.
All right, we can do that.
Question.
We can do that. All right, there's a documentary on Amazon Prime called Laughter Has No Color. Go to Amazon Prime and pull up Laughter Has No Color. And that is a documentary about my life from when I started in Alabama all the way up until the first award show. So guys, go have a wonderful one. And my brother, it's been more than a pleasure. Man. I'm so glad Ms. Jones hooked us up. I really am.
Look at it. Shout out to Stella Jones, y'all. All right.
Stella Jones,
come on,
our publicist. Love her. Love her to death. All right. You take care and have a wonderful day, brother.
Yes, you too, sir. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Word with Ty Brownlow. I've been your host, Ty Brownlow. Remember, no one is worthless. No story is worthless. Follow me, all social media platforms, Word with Ty Brownlow. Or go to my website, tybrownlow.com. Get this conversation, plus other great conversations as well. Sir Frank Cooper, we are out. Peace out.